Toyota is developing a new engine that it claims will change the entire automobile industry game.
We are working with government to create infrastructure pursuing emissions-free technologies.
While the whole world is blindly running in the race of electric cars, there is one company that is quietly moving in a different direction, and that is Toyota. While other automakers have accepted EV as the only way of the future, Toyota has done what no one had even imagined. Their engineers have created an engine that has shaken the foundation of the entire EV market. Now the question arises, has Toyota discovered some truth that remained hidden from other companies? Is this just technical stubbornness, or is there a big vision hidden behind it? Let's know about the strategy that has brought a new twist in the EV race, and you will also be surprised to know about it. Before we go into details about it, subscribe to the channel so that you can get information about technology first. Today, Tesla, BYD, and many leading companies in the world are considering electric vehicles as the solution of the future and are rapidly investing in that direction. Governments are also making subsidies and policies to promote EVs, but the reality is that in the current situation, the whole world is not ready to fully adopt EVs at once. The biggest challenge is the charging infrastructure. Even today, there are not enough charging stations in many cities and rural areas. On the other hand, metals used in EV batteries such as lithium, cobalt, etc., are rare and expensive, whose mining affects both the environment and human rights. Apart from this, the availability of electricity and the capacity of the grid are also in question. If crores of people start charging EVs simultaneously, the current energy system may collapse. Electric vehicles still prove to be limited in long-distance travel, heavy cargo transportation, and cold areas. Therefore, the reality today is that EVs are definitely a part of the future. But their solution is not possible for everyone and everywhere today. Toyota's not hopping on the all-electric bandwagon like other car makers. While brands like Ford, Volkswagen, and Mercedes are racing to ditch gas-powered cars and go full-on electric, Toyota's hitting the brakes and saying, "Hold up, let's think this through." Why? Toyota thinks the world isn't ready to go all in on electric vehicles, EVs, just yet. They're worried that pushing everyone to EVs too fast could backfire, leaving people with fewer affordable or practical options. Instead of chasing the EV hype like Tesla or Rivian, Toyota's taking a different road, one that says electric cars aren't the only answer. Now, don't get it twisted. Toyota isn't scared of change. These are the folks who brought us the Prius back in 1997, the world's first big-deal hybrid car. That was a game-changer. The Prius mixed gas and electric power, paving the way for cleaner cars when EVs weren't even a thing. Toyota's been innovating for decades, just not always in the way people expect. So, why's Toyota dragging its feet on EVs? Some say they're just protecting their business. Others think they're onto something. Toyota's betting on hybrids and even hydrogen power instead of going all electric. They believe this mix keeps driving practical and affordable for more people, especially in places where charging stations or EV batteries aren't ready for prime time. Back in 2021, Toyota made a bold move that got people talking. At the COP26 Climate Summit, automakers were asked to sign a pledge to stop selling gas-powered cars by 2040. Most jumped on board, but Toyota? They said, "Nah, we're good." Instead of going all in on electric vehicles, EVs, Toyota promised to keep working on EVs and other tech, like hybrids and hydrogen. They weren't ready to bet everything on EVs alone. This choice stirred up some serious drama. Critics were like, "Toyota, what's the deal? You gave us the Prius, the hybrid superstar, and now you're pumping the brakes on EVs?" People accused them of holding back progress, but Toyota stood their ground. And here's where it gets interesting. They had some solid points. Toyota's argument? The world isn't ready to go full EV yet, and rushing into it could cause more problems than it solves. While places like California, the EU, Canada, and Australia are making big plans to ban new gas cars by 2035, Toyota's waving a caution flag. Sure, those laws sound great for the planet, but there's a catch. Not every country is set up for EVs. Toyota sells cars in over 200 countries, and many of them don't have enough charging stations, reliable electricity, or the cash to support electric cars. Imagine trying to drive an EV in a place with no chargers or spotty power. It's a recipe for frustration. Toyota's saying, let's not leave millions of drivers high and dry by forcing EVs before the world's ready. And Toyota, they're not just about selling cars. They're focused on making sure people can still get around, especially in places where the power grid is shaky or gas is easier to come by than electricity. Going all electric sounds cool, but it's not practical everywhere. Now, let's zoom in on a key player. Akio Toyoda, Toyota's former CEO, who was in charge until 2023. This guy wasn't your typical suit. Unlike other car company bosses, he spoke his mind and boy, did he shake things up. Toyota wasn't anti-EV, he made that clear, but he didn't think electric cars were the perfect fix for every driver out there. He called out the EV hype, warning that pushing them too fast could lead to big headaches. While other companies were racing to keep up with Tesla, Toyota had Toyota doubling down on hybrids, hydrogen-powered cars, and even better gas engines. Instead of going all in on EVs, they explored options that didn't force everyone to ditch combustion engines completely. This approach ruffled feathers. Industry bigwigs and environmental groups weren't thrilled, accusing Toyota of dragging its feet. But Toyota didn't budge. He believed mixing different technologies, hybrids, hydrogen, and improved gas engines, was the smarter way to cut emissions while keeping cars affordable and practical for everyone. Toyota's playing the long game, positioning itself as the go-to brand for people who need options beyond EVs. But let's keep it real. This is a risky move. If EVs take over faster than Toyota thinks, they could get left in the dust. But if the switch to electric hits roadblocks, like spotty charging networks or sky-high costs, Toyota might just be the one saying, "Told you so." Toyota's rolling out a new 2025 crossover, and it's got people buzzing. While everyone's obsessed with electric vehicles, EVs right now, Toyota's cooking up a different plan, one that might just shake things up. But to get why Toyota's so into this alternative, we gotta dig into the not-so-glamorous side of EVs. The hidden bumps in the EV road. EVs are all the rage. You can't watch TV without seeing a sleek new electric car zooming across the screen, promising a futuristic, eco-friendly ride. Governments are hyping them up, pledging to phase out gas cars for good. At first glance, EVs seem like the ultimate weapon against climate change and pollution. But there's a catch, and it's not getting enough airtime. Toyota's not alone in raising an eyebrow. Even EV fans are starting to ask some real-talk questions. Are electric cars really as green as they seem? Can we even make enough batteries for everyone to drive an EV? What happens when millions of cars plug in at once? Will the power grid hold up? Here's the deal. Laws pushing for all electric car sales by 2035, just a decade away, sound bold and exciting. But Toyota's saying, whoa, let's pump the brakes and think this through. They're not anti-EV. They just see some big hurdles that need solving first. You've probably heard that electric vehicles, EVs, are awesome for saving cash on gas. And yeah, that's a big win. But Toyota's pointing out some big what-ifs about EVs that we need to think about. Let's break it down. Right now, only about 1% of cars worldwide are electric. That's a tiny slice of the pie. But imagine if that jumps to 10%, 20%, or even 50% of all cars. Sounds cool, right? Well, here's the catch. More EVs mean way more demand for electricity. Toyota's done the math, and they say if EVs take over, the US alone would need to boost its power supply by 40% by 2030. That's like building a ton of new power plants in just a few years. So, where's all that electricity gonna come from? Many power grids are already stretched thin. In California, blackouts hit almost every summer. In Europe, energy shortages have been a headache since the Ukraine war messed with gas supplies. Now, add millions of EVs trying to charge up, especially during heat waves or storms when everyone's already cranking the AC. That could spell trouble. And here's the real twist. A lot of the world's electricity still comes from fossil fuels, like coal, oil, and natural gas. So, even if your EV isn't guzzling gas, the power plant charging it might be burning dirty fuel. In places where clean energy like solar or wind isn't big yet, EVs might not be as eco-friendly as they sound. Now, let's dive into another big EV topic: batteries. They're the heart of electric cars, but they come with some serious baggage. First up, lithium. It's the star ingredient in EV batteries, and the world's going crazy for it. Problem is, we're running low on lithium, and getting more isn't easy. Most of it comes from places like Chile, Argentina, and Australia, where mining it sucks up tons of water, wrecks local ecosystems, and pollutes the land. In some spots, entire communities are left without drinking water because lithium mining hogs it all. Not exactly the green vibe EVs are supposed to have, right? But wait, there's more. EV batteries also need stuff like nickel, cobalt, and manganese, often mined in places like the Democratic Republic of Congo. Here's the tough part. Some of these mines use child labor and have super unsafe working conditions. So, while EVs might seem clean on the road, the process to make their batteries can be pretty messy, both for the planet and for people. And then there's the end game. What happens when EV batteries wear out? Most last 8 to 15 years, and after that, they turn into hazardous waste. Right now, we don't have a solid plan to recycle them on a big scale. Without one, we could be staring at a massive pile of toxic trash in the future. Switching to an electric car sounds awesome, but for a lot of folks, it's all about the money. Here's the deal. EVs are pricey. Even with government discounts, the average electric car in the US costs over $50,000 compared to about $35,000 for a regular gas-powered car. That's a big gap. Why do EVs cost so much? It's those batteries again. They're the priciest part of the car. And with materials like lithium in short supply, don't expect prices to drop anytime soon. Governments are throwing in tax credits and subsidies to help out, but those deals might not stick around forever. When they're gone, EVs could be out of reach for tons of people, especially in countries where incomes are lower. That's one reason Toyota's not all in on EVs. They're worried that pushing electric cars too fast could leave millions of people without affordable wheels. Okay, let's say you buy an EV. Now you've got to charge it. Easy, right? Not so fast. Charging an EV isn't like topping off a gas tank. If you're using a standard home charger, it can take anywhere from 8 to 40 hours to get a full battery, depending on the car and your setup. There are fast chargers, but they're pricey and not exactly on every corner. And what about folks who don't have a garage? Tons of people park on the street, in apartment lots, or in places where plugging in isn't an option. Gas stations are everywhere, but EV charging stations, they're still playing catch-up. In cities especially, drivers might end up stuck in long lines at public chargers, twiddling their thumbs. As more folks jump on the EV bandwagon, the charging situation's only gonna get crazier. Right now, the US has about 160,000 public chargers. Sounds like a lot, but experts say we'd need at least 10 times that to keep up with a world full of electric cars. Building all those chargers? That's going to take serious time, cash, and government backup. With all these hurdles, pricey batteries, spotty charging networks, and shaky power grids, Toyota's like, whoa, going all in on EVs is a gamble. They're not hating on electric cars. They just think EVs aren't the only way to go. Toyota's big idea? Mix it up with different technologies to keep cars clean, affordable, and practical. Toyota's saying, we're onto something here, and brands like Lexus are nodding along. They're pumping effort into better hybrids, exploring alternative fuels, and even designing new engines that cut emissions without ditching the classic combustion engine vibe. Not everyone's on board. Lots of car makers are all about EVs, no matter the challenges. But Toyota's sticking to its guns, saying there are too many unsolved problems to go full electric just yet. So, what's Toyota's big alternative? It's something they've been quietly working on for years. Hydrogen-powered internal combustion engines. Yep, you heard that right. Toyota thinks this could be the real deal for clean transportation. While other companies bet everything on EVs, Toyota's pushing hydrogen hard, believing it could even make fully electric cars unnecessary. Here's the pitch. Hydrogen-powered cars could give you clean energy, super-fast refueling, like filling up a gas tank, and the same punchy performance you love in traditional cars. Toyota's not just dreaming. They've got working prototypes, like the Corolla Cross H2 concept and a hydrogen-powered GR Yaris. These cars use tweaked versions of their regular gas engines, but instead of gasoline, they run on compressed hydrogen. Toyota's betting big on hydrogen-powered cars, and it's not just a wild idea. They've got the tech working. Unlike gasoline, hydrogen burns faster, hotter, and cleaner, leaving way fewer nasty byproducts in the air. But making it work in a car wasn't a walk in the park. Toyota's engineers had to beef up engine parts like pistons, valves, and cylinder heads to handle the intense heat. They also revamped the fuel system since hydrogen's a gas, not a liquid, and tweaked the ignition to make sure everything sparks just right. One Toyota engineer spilled the tea. This wasn't easy. We poured in serious cash and effort to build cars that are better than ever. But they nailed it. Now, Toyota's got hydrogen combustion cars that actually hit the road. So, why's this a big deal? These hydrogen cars keep all the stuff gearheads love about gas-powered rides. Quick refueling, punchy acceleration, and that classic driving feel, minus the carbon emissions. Unlike EVs, which have wicked instant power but can feel a bit too quiet or different, hydrogen cars deliver the roar, the response, and the raw vibe of a traditional engine. It's like having your cake and eating it too. Then there's refueling. Remember how EV charging can take forever? 30 minutes at a fast charger, or up to 40 hours at home? With hydrogen, you pull up to a pump, fill up in 90 seconds to 5 minutes, and you're back on the road. No waiting, no stress. Another win? No range anxiety. EV drivers sweat about running out of juice before finding a charger, especially on long road trips. Hydrogen cars? They can go hundreds of miles, just like gas cars, so you can hit the highway without a worry. And here's a game changer. Weather doesn't mess with hydrogen cars. Electric vehicles can lose nearly half their range in freezing cold, and hot weather can make their batteries overheat. Hydrogen, it stays steady, whether it's icy or scorching, keeping performance rock solid. Ever notice how electric cars feel heavier? That's because of their massive lithium-ion batteries. All that weight means EVs need more energy to get moving, which can make them less efficient. Plus, a heavy car handles differently. Some drivers just don't love the feel compared to a zippy gas-powered ride. Hydrogen combustion engines? They skip the giant batteries, so they're lighter, more efficient, and keep that classic driving vibe many folks crave. But here's the catch. Hydrogen cars have some hurdles to clear. The biggest? There just aren't enough hydrogen fueling stations. In the US, you'll mostly find them in California. Europe's got a few more, but it's still slim pickings. Without pumps everywhere, hydrogen cars can't match the convenience of gas stations or even EV chargers. Toyota's teaming up with governments and companies to build more stations, but that's a big project that'll take time and a ton of cash. Meanwhile, EV charging stations are way easier to set up, giving them a head start. Another issue is how hydrogen's made. Right now, most of it comes from natural gas, which still pumps out carbon emissions. Not exactly super clean. Toyota's all about green hydrogen made from renewable sources like wind or solar, but ramping that up is a slow process. Until green hydrogen's everywhere, hydrogen cars won't be as eco-friendly as they could be. Despite these bumps, Toyota's doubling down on hydrogen combustion. They're not like other car makers going all in on EV batteries. Instead, Toyota's dreaming of a world where different clean energy options, like hybrids, hydrogen, and EVs, work together, not a one-size-fits-all battery takeover. Plus, hydrogen cars could be a lifeline for traditional mechanics. Electric vehicles need special know-how to fix, which could put small repair shops out of business. Hydrogen combustion engines? They're still mechanical, so your local garage can handle them, just like gas cars. That means no pricey, specialized EV service centers taking over. Toyota's hydrogen dream might sound like something out of a sci-fi flick. Imagine rolling down your window to tell folks, "Yo, hydrogen cars are real." But Toyota's in it for the long haul. The big question is, can hydrogen catch up to EVs fast enough to steal the spotlight? Electric vehicles are having a moment, with billions pouring into batteries and charging stations. Hydrogen? It's still in the early laps, needing major cash to become a real contender. But Toyota's not putting all its eggs in the hydrogen basket. They've got a slick backup plan, hybrids and mixed-engine solutions. These are like the ultimate team-up, blending electric power with traditional engines to give you the best of both worlds. Cleaner driving now without betting everything on a far-off future. It's a practical middle ground, and Toyota's all about it. Now, let's talk about why EVs are zooming ahead. Charging is just way easier. You can plug in an EV at home, at the mall, or even at a grocery store. The US already has over 160,000 public charging stations, and that number's climbing fast. Hydrogen refueling stations? There are only about 60 in the whole country. Plus, building them is a headache. They need fancy equipment and high-pressure tanks, which makes them way trickier and pricier to set up than EV chargers. If you've got an EV, you can charge it overnight in your garage. No garage? No problem. Public chargers are popping up everywhere. But with hydrogen cars, you're out of luck unless you live near one of those rare stations. You can't refuel at home, and even in cities with hydrogen pumps, they're few and far between. Forget cost for a sec. Let's talk setup. Installing a basic EV charger at home costs a few $100. Even fast chargers like Tesla's superchargers are pretty straightforward to build. Hydrogen stations. They're a whole different beast, requiring big investments and complex tech. Building hydrogen refueling stations is no joke. They're crazy expensive. Hydrogen has to be stored at super high pressures or freezing temperatures to stay liquid. So these stations need heavy-duty tanks, top-notch safety systems, and constant checks to avoid leaks or explosions. One station can cost millions, so it's no surprise there are only a handful around. With barely any hydrogen cars on the road, investors aren't exactly lining up to fund more pumps. Toyota's teaming up with governments and energy companies to get more hydrogen stations built, especially in places like Japan, Germany, and South Korea. But it's moving at a snail's pace, and most of the world still doesn't have access to hydrogen refueling. Even if stations popped up everywhere, there's another hurdle. Hydrogen fuel is pricey. Filling up a hydrogen car costs about $60 to $80, roughly the same as a tank of gas. Compare that to charging an EV at home, which can cost as little as $5 to $15, or even public fast chargers, which are still cheaper. For hydrogen to win, the fuel price has got to come way down, and that means making hydrogen cheaper to produce. Speaking of production, here's a shocker. Most hydrogen today comes from natural gas, which pumps carbon into the air. Not so clean, after all. Toyota's pushing for green hydrogen, made with renewable energy like wind or solar. But it's expensive and tough to produce in big amounts right now. Until green hydrogen takes over, hydrogen cars won't be the eco-superstars they're meant to be. And then there's the big question. Will people even want hydrogen cars? EVs are everywhere. Folks see Teslas, hear about tax breaks, and get the whole plug-it-in thing. Hydrogen? It's still a bit of a mystery to most drivers. Toyota's got some work to do to convince people that hydrogen cars are just as reliable and easy to use as EVs. That means educating folks, building trust, and proving hydrogen's worth. Not a quick fix. Toyota's not going it alone, though. Other car makers, energy companies, and even governments are dipping their toes into hydrogen too. If Toyota's hydrogen dream catches on, it could totally shake up the car world. Toyota's not just banking on one idea. They're mixing things up with a smart combo of power sources, and their hybrid tech is a big part of that. You've probably heard of the Prius, the car that flipped the script back in 1997. It's still a rock star, and Toyota's doubling down on hybrids while others chase all-electric dreams. Why? Because hybrids are a practical, long-term fix for millions of drivers. Here's the deal. Hybrids don't need fancy charging stations or new driving habits. They sip way less gas than regular cars, but you won't be stressing about finding a charger, battery life, or electricity bills. It's all the perks of cleaner driving without the hassle of going fully electric. Pretty sweet, right? And then there's the plug-in hybrid, PHEV, the ultimate flex. These bad boys let you zip around town on electric power for short trips and switch to a gas engine for longer hauls. It's the best of both worlds, electric vibes for city cruising and gas for road trips. In places with shaky power grids, hybrids and PHEVs are a no-brainer, but they cut emissions without making car life complicated. Toyota's pouring big money into hybrids because they know not everyone's ready to go all in on EVs. Hybrids bridge that gap, keeping driving affordable and easy. But wait, there's more. While passenger cars get all the hype, Toyota's thinking bigger: trucks, buses, and industrial vehicles. These are the workhorses that keep the world moving, and battery-powered versions have some serious downsides. They take hours to charge, need massive batteries that add weight, and can't go super far. This is where hydrogen shines. Toyota's not just building hydrogen combustion engines for regular cars, they're also developing hydrogen fuel cells for heavy-duty vehicles. Unlike battery-powered trucks, hydrogen trucks refuel in minutes and can cover long distances, perfect for cross-country hauls. This could be a total game-changer for industries that can't deal with long charging breaks or don't have giant charging stations. It's not just talk. Toyota's hydrogen fuel cell tech is already rolling in California and Japan. It's the real deal. The catch? Infrastructure, again. But for trucking, it's less of a headache. Hydrogen stations just need to be along major shipping routes, not everywhere, making it a legit option for long-haul rigs, even if it's not practical for every driver. Toyota's playing the long game, blending hybrids, hydrogen, and more to create a future where clean driving works for everyone, not just EV fans. Are they onto something big, or will EVs keep stealing the show? Stay tuned. Toyota's not just following the EV hype, they're carving their own path. But will hydrogen catch up, or will EVs stay king? Let us know what you think in the comments. If you loved this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more car tech updates. Share this video with your crew, and let's keep the convo rolling. Catch you in the next one. Stay driven.